You know that emptiness that insists on appearing. Even when, theoretically, you have everything you need to be fine. That desire that appears out of nowhere, as if it were a calling that you can't explain, but also can't ignore. Well, maybe you've never stopped to think. But what if I told you that this desire isn't what you're really looking for? That this is just a symptom you feel, a restlessness that no one understands, a desire for something greater, something beyond, but you don't know exactly what. While many run after money, status, success, you realize that no matter how much you achieve, your chest remains tight. Your soul continues to scream. And here comes the question that you may have avoided for a long time. Why? Even when everything seems to be going well, do I still feel like something is missing? I'm going to tell you a truth that perhaps no one has had the courage to tell you until today. The desire that moves you is not about material things, nor about recognition. In fact, your soul wants more, much more. What you feel is not need, it is not weakness, it is not unbridled ambition. It is a reminder, a sign, a provocation from life for you to remember who you are, where you came from, and most importantly, what you really came here to do. If you feel like you don't belong in this world the way it is, if it feels like there's something bigger waiting for you, then maybe you are the chosen one. And if you are, you need to understand that desire is just the tip of the iceberg. It's just the symptom, because your soul wants much more than you can imagine. If everything I just said made sense to you, then take a deep breath and understand something very serious. You're not here by chance. If this message reached you, it is because there is something inside you that can no longer be ignored. And perhaps this is the exact moment when your life begins to change. But for that, you can no longer walk alone. Here in this space, I share reflections, hidden truths, deep messages that help you remember who you are. Because, yes, you are much more than they said, much more than they made you believe. So, I invite you from the bottom of my heart to subscribe to the channel now. This isn't just about pressing a button, it's about consciously choosing to be part of something bigger. It's about feeding your mind, your soul, with content that truly uplifts you, that helps you awaken and strengthen yourself on this journey that not everyone understands. If this message spoke to you, then subscribe, turn on notifications, and stay with me. Because, believe me, this here could be exactly what your soul has been asking for a long time. You know, there comes a time in life when everything loses a bit of meaning. The things that used to excite you now seem empty. Superficial conversations sound like noise. The places that used to distract you now tire you. And in the silence, that uncomfortable, almost suffocating question arises, what am I doing here? You look at your own life and realize that even though you followed the script, something is out of place. You studied, you worked, you try to please, you try to fit in, but deep down, you feel like you're living a life that was never designed for you. And it is in this void that desire appears. A desire that has no name, that has no form. It is as if something inside pulls you, calls you like a whisper that only you can hear. But the curious thing is that the more you try to fill it with things, the more this hole seems to grow. You buy, you distract yourself, you occupy yourself, you exhaust yourself. But at the end of the day, when you lay your head on the pillow, you realize that none of that silenced that call. Nothing. And at that point, a lot of people go into crisis because they start to realize that it's not about money. It's not about a better job. It's not about a perfect relationship. It's not about fame. It's not about validation. It's something much deeper. It's almost like your soul is knocking on the door, asking you to wake up. And if you pay close attention, you'll realize that since you were little, there have always been signs. There have always been those moments when you felt different, out of place, out of the ordinary. While everyone else seemed satisfied with the surface, you always wanted to understand what lies beyond. You always searched for a greater meaning, even without knowing exactly where to look. Remember those days when you looked up at the sky for no reason at all, just feeling that there was some answer there? Or those moments when you felt a sadness that you didn't even know where it came from, a strange longing for something you never even experienced? Well, that was it. It was never random. It was never for nothing. There's a reason you feel this way. And no, it's not because you're weak, lost, or overly sensitive. In fact, it's quite the opposite. You feel this way because your soul refuses to conform. It knows you're not here to live an automatic, disconnected, purposeless life. The thing is, for so long, you try to silence that voice. You try to be normal. You try to fit in with what was expected of you. But the more you did that, the more you lost pieces of yourself. The further you got away from your own essence. And this is where the truth begins that few are ready to hear. The desire that moves you, that discomfort that seems to never go away, was never about having. It was always about being. Because deep down, your soul doesn't want things, it wants freedom. It wants truth. It wants remembrance. Transformation almost never comes as a big bang. It's not like in the movies, where suddenly life changes and everything becomes clear. In real life, awakening happens in small steps, in small achievements that, together, begin to create a new path. It was like that for me, and maybe it will be like that for you too. In that moment of doubt, when everything seemed lost, I began to notice small changes. One day, I decided to stop and listen to that inner voice that always tried to be silenced. It wasn't easy. The fear of disappointing other people's expectations, the fear of the unknown, the fear of losing what I already had, all of this tried to pull me back. But still I followed, with slow, almost imperceptible steps. I began to realize that I no longer needed to torture myself by trying to be someone I wasn't. That my vulnerability was not a sign of weakness, but of courage. I learned to appreciate every little step forward. Every morning I woke up and chose to be honest with myself. Every time I said no to something that didn't make sense, even if it seemed easier to agree. Every moment I allowed myself to feel, even if it was uncomfortable. And do you know what's most curious? Little by little, life began to show other colors. Not the perfect, bright colors of social media, but real colors, with shades of gray, dark blue, burnt yellow. Colors that speak of depth, of authenticity. I discovered that happiness is not a finish line, nor a collection of external things. It is a process of learning to be who you really are, with all your imperfections, doubts, and fears. I learned that the more my soul wanted was not a prize or a grand achievement, but a state of being present, being aligned, being at peace even in the chaos. It was at that moment that I understood every challenge, every fall, every failure, everything is part of this path. That life is a constant school, and that learning is in the journey and not just in the destination. And that changed everything. It gave me a strength I had never felt before because I was no longer fighting myself. I was accepting myself, respecting myself, empowering myself. You can get there too. You don't have to wait for a magical transformation or a huge sign from the universe. Sometimes all it takes is a small step, a moment of courage to look inside yourself, to be honest with yourself. When you begin to free yourself from the expectations that the world has imposed on you, you begin to see that life is not about having or looking, but about being true to your essence, being the chosen one who came for something greater. And it is there, in that moment of clarity, that desire changes form. It stops being an anguish and becomes an invitation. The invitation to live a life that is truly worthwhile, that makes your soul smile. Now listen to this. All this searching, all this deep longing you feel is not about finding something outside of yourself. In fact, the greatest discovery you can make is that what your soul wants is not in anything the world can offer. It is within yourself. This may seem simple, even cliched, but the depth of this idea is immense. For a long time, we've been taught to look outside ourselves, to material goods, to recognition, to success, as if that were where happiness was stored. But the truth is that happiness, peace, and meaning are not prizes that you earn after a lot of effort. They are natural states of your soul, which already exist within you. You don't have to go anywhere to find them. You just have to come back to yourself. Life, with all its complexity, is a school for you to remember this. And desire? Desire is your soul's reminder. The voice that insists that you stop running away. When you understand that desire is not about getting, but about being, something changes inside you. You stop chasing the unattainable and start living in the present, accepting your imperfections, your fears, your shadows. You begin to realize that fulfillment is not in having control over everything, but in surrendering to the flow of life with confidence and courage. That's where true freedom lies. The freedom to be yourself without masks, without external pressures, without false expectations. And here's a tip that can transform your life. Happiness is not a destination, but a way of walking. Don't wait until you get there to be happy. Be happy now, while you grow, while you learn, while you face your inner battles. The chosen one is not the one who never falls, but the one who chooses to always get up, even when the soul is tired. It is the one who understands that pain, struggle, and emptiness are necessary parts of the process, and that each experience serves to refine one's essence. When your soul asks for more, it doesn't mean you should look outside. It's calling you to a deeper encounter with yourself, to listen to your heart, to trust your intuition, to live authentically and with purpose. The universe doesn't want you to accumulate things. It wants you to accumulate wisdom. It doesn't want you to conquer the world. It wants you to conquer yourself. This is the true mission of the chosen ones. To be light in the midst of darkness, to find peace in the midst of chaos, and to show that it is possible to live a full life, full of meaning, even in a world that often insists on distracting you from what is essential. You are the chosen one, and your soul doesn't just want a passing desire. It wants to awaken. It wants to fly. It wants to remember the infinity that lives within you. Make no mistake, the path is long, sometimes difficult, but it is also the truest you can take. Getting this far is already an act of courage. You heard this message, you felt something move inside you, and that is already a giant step in the right direction. The chosen one's journey is never easy, but it is the most authentic one that anyone can experience. Overcoming is not about erasing the wounds or pretending that everything is fine. Overcoming is about learning to live with the scars, the fears, the doubts, and still moving forward with dignity. It is about carrying the scars like silent medals of those who did not give up. You may not have all the answers, and you may never have them. And that's okay. The beauty of life lies precisely in this uncertainty, in this mystery that calls us to move forward even without knowing exactly what lies ahead. Every step, even the small ones, is a victory. Every day that you choose to be true to yourself, even in the face of difficulties, is an act of resistance and self-love. Remember, your soul doesn't want you to get lost in the pursuit of more. It wants you to find yourself in the now. It wants you to celebrate what you already are, even as you strive to be more. And when loneliness presses in, when fear tries to bring you down, go back inside. Close your eyes and listen to your breathing. Feel your heart beating. There is the strength that never abandoned you. There is the call to continue. You have within you a light that no challenge can extinguish. A light that is born from the truth that you carry, from the essence that is only yours. This light is your shield, your guide, your comfort. Be kind to yourself on difficult days. Don't be too hard on yourself. The path of the chosen one is made up of ups and downs, of advances and setbacks. The important thing is not to stop walking, transforming pain into learning, fear into courage, silence into wisdom. That is the mission. That is the great victory that no one can take away from you. You are stronger than you think, more resilient than you ever thought possible. And you are exactly where you are supposed to be, in the middle of your own journey, writing your story with courage and authenticity. Now, more than ever, trust the process. Don't let the noise of the world drown out the voice of your soul. It is calling you to live a life of purpose, fulfillment, and truth. And when you allow yourself to be who you truly are, you will discover that what seemed like a burden becomes a mission that is worth every step, every tear, every smile. You are chosen, not because you are perfect, but because you are true, because you have a unique light, an immeasurable essence that the world needs. So lift your head, take a deep breath, and keep going, because your soul wants more, much more, and you deserve it. If you've made it this far, I want you to know that this video was made especially for you. For those who feel that they are different, that they carry a greater calling, a mission that goes beyond what meets the eye. If the message touched your heart, if it lit a light inside you, then I invite you to take the next step on this journey. Subscribe to the channel. Here, we walk together. This is a space for those who want to awaken, reflect, and transform their own lives, without false promises or magic formulas, but with truth, courage, and authenticity. Like the video to show that you want more of this content, that you want to continue growing, learning, and becoming stronger. Your like is your way of saying, I'm here, I want to evolve, I deserve to experience this transformation. Share this video with someone you know who is also looking for answers, who feels this restlessness in their soul, who wants to understand that desire is just a symptom, but that what really matters is what comes next inside you. And leave a comment below to let me know what this message has brought to your mind. I want to know how you feel, what your doubts, fears, and small victories are. This channel is a community, a place where no one is alone, where we strengthen and inspire each other. Remember, the chosen path does not need to be walked in silence. Here, you will find support, reflection, and motivation to continue, even when the world seems too heavy. You are not alone. Every step you take, every courageous thought you have, is a seed planted in the garden of your soul. And it is this garden that blooms when we choose to look within, instead of seeking outside what already exists within us. Sign up now and activate the bell so you don't miss any messages that will help you see life with more clarity, more love, and more purpose. Because what your soul wants is not a passing desire. It is an awakening, a calling to be more, to be whole, to live with meaning. Here, together, we will explore this profound and transformative journey. With each video, one step closer to what you were born to be. So, don't wait any longer. Click the subscribe button, like, share, and be part of this community that chooses to live with authenticity and courage. Your soul already knows the way. You just need to take the next step. Thank you for being here, for trusting this message, and for allowing yourself to grow. The journey is not easy, but it is the most important one you will ever experience. Until the next video, where we will continue together, uncovering what the soul really desires and how to transform this desire into a full and true life. Until then, take care of yourself, trust your light, and remember, you are chosen, and your soul wants so much more.